what will the legacy do for Patrick Mahomes, and what will it do for Joe Burrow if they win this game?
For me, I feel like Mahomes would be getting the monkey off the back, beating Joe Burrow, and then he can solidify himself as better, especially on one ankle. Clearly, his weapons aren't as good. His coaching on defense for his defense aren't as good, and it's going to be more of a challenge for him to go up against Cincinnati's defense than it will for Joe Burrow to go up against Kansas City. So I feel like gets that monkey on his back, solidifies himself as the number one guy. For me, Joe Burrow has to win the Super Bowl for this game to matter. You can go 4-0 versus Mahomes, but if you get to the Super Bowl and you still don't get it done again, still have to give it to Patty because he has an MVP and a Super Bowl. For me, it would just be Joe Burrow solidifying himself as the official number 1-2, even though I already think he is. But he has to win the Super Bowl for this game to matter.
I think that's fair. I think for Patty Mahomes, if he makes it to his third Super Bowl in 5 years, I think he's top 5 already.
All time. Yeah.
All time. Yeah, because at that point he's made as many Super Bowls as Peyton Manning. Especially, I think both of these guys, it really depends on if they win the Super Bowl. Which, if we're going with winning the Super Bowl, Patty Mahomes has 2 rings. He has more rings than Aaron Rodgers. He has more rings than Drew Brees. He has as many rings as Big Ben, Peyton Manning, all these great quarterbacks. And his talent is better than all of these guys. He's the most talented quarterback I've ever seen. So he's going to be in the top 5 conversation. I feel like he already is, but with a Super Bowl, it solidifies that. And with Joe Burrow winning that Super Bowl, first of all, giant fuck you to Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert and all these other guys.
Yeah.
If Joe Burrow goes to back-to-back Super Bowls, arguably could have won the first Super Bowl if it wasn't for a couple of penalties going against him. And then the very next season comes back, goes against Josh Allen, takes care of business.
Yeah.
Goes up against Patty Mahomes, takes care of business, and then he's going to maybe take on Jalen Hurts, who's an MVP frontrunner, takes care of business with him. That'll be one of the best runs any quarterback could have to win the Super Bowl. So Joe Burrow at that point, I think Patty Mahomes being the perennial absolute number one guy, I think there starts to become an argument there where is it Patty or is it Joe Burrow? Becomes the Manning and Brady argument. And it's when it gets really spicy because I think, Patty Mahomes might have more of the flashy plays, but as far as winning, I mean, prior to Joe Burrow, they never had a road playoff win. As he's come back in here, he has 4.
Yeah.
In 2 years. In 2 years. So it'll be really interesting to see. I think the Bengals should be the front runners to win this game. And then, yeah.
Yeah, they should be the front runners to win this game, especially with the injury to Patrick Mahomes, just because also they're 3-0 versus the Chiefs, and we haven't seen the Chiefs beat them, so I'm not going to believe it until I see it. Especially without Tyreek Hill, I feel like it's going to be a very tall task. But I feel like the Brady Manning argument with Mahomes and Burrow is going to be very prevalent here because you have Josh Allen's kind of the Roethlisberger in the abyss who can take a game from any given guy, but most of the time they dominate him in the playoffs, but sometimes he'll get a game off them in the regular season. But Burrow, similar to Brady, has dominated Patrick Mahomes, similar to what he did to Peyton Manning in the regular season and in the playoffs. Brady has always had the better record, while Manning always had better stats, similar to how Mahomes has better stats than Joe Burrow. But people would say Joe Burrow's the only guy who you can see elevate his game to a level where everything is better. His intensity, his reads, his accuracy, his decision-making, everything goes up. Same thing with Patrick Mahomes, and I feel like this rivalry is even better because comparing Patrick Mahomes to Peyton Manning is honestly just disrespectful to Patrick Mahomes with how bad Peyton Manning was early on in his career in the playoffs. So I feel like Burrow versus Mahomes has its similarities to Brady and Manning, but I feel like both these guys are going to end up having better careers than Peyton Manning. I don't think anyone will have a better career than Tom Brady, but I feel like stats-wise, Mahomes can definitely catch them.
Yeah. One last thing I forgot to mention with Patty Mahomes. If Patty Mahomes wins this game on one ankle, could go down as one of the gutsiest games that he's ever had. and could go down as an all-time great Patty Mahomes game, depending on what kind of game we get from him.
Yeah, that's your Michael Jordan moment where Brady had the solidifying himself as the GOAT where he came back from being down 28-3. This is his flu moment where Michael Jordan is sick, goes out there, plays one of the best games of his career. Patrick Mahomes, if he comes out there and the first time he beats Patrick Mahomes or beats Joe Burrow is on one leg, that's going to be one of the most impressive performances we've ever seen.